Good day to you. How's it going? So, back with another solo pod. Bit quiet in February, you know. It's cold. People are not willing to do as much as they say they're willing to do, or they're not willing to be out as much as they want to be out. You know, it is what it is. Might be a bit late with this one because the Matrix has been out for like a while, and the reviews are in, and it's a bit shit on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it was like 71%. So, but yeah, I don't think it's ever too late to talk about the Matrix, really. And I did say on the last solo pod that I was going to talk about a lady called Sophia Stuart, which I've been diving into the rabbit hole to find out who she is and what the outcome is, and it has thrown me a little bit. I was more interested before, and now I'm even more interested, but at the same time a little bit like, well, it wasn't quite what I thought, and that's usually what a conspiracy does. Or a conspiracy can have quite a... Someone's ringing me now? Oh. Too late. Not gonna answer that one. But yeah, conspiracies can have quite a way where they don't allow you to see over the wall. You know, you can get trapped inside of thinking in one way or not really finding the right answers or logic or truth around it. It can just keep spiraling into like a bottomless pit of nothing, you know. Or it's the same sort of thing where you get to the end of the Wizard of Oz and see the guy, this wonderful wizard, and really he's just a man behind the curtains projecting a large face to scare you on the front of it. But yeah, so I delved into that, but let's talk about the Matrix first, you know. And if you've been listening to my pods for the last 6 months or however long I've been doing them, you'd know I kind of like the Matrix. But yeah, let's get into episode... What episode are we on? I think we're on episode 11. Fucking 11. Yeah. Episode 11. Let's get into it.
It's like they've really spun a web. Our consciousness,
I can't describe how it
is slightly false.
To me, it's a slightly darker version.
Because there is a...
But I could look into my...
collective consciousness.
Imagination.
Truth is what real reality is based on.
Art, you know,
my crazy. Yeah.
Your art is there.
Just because you say it's like that doesn't mean I'm going to read it.
They still don't know where consciousness is. So when I'm meditating... Yeah, I bet you do.
It's basically your heart.
Really?
Yeah.
That intro, I'm sure most of you probably skim past it now because you've heard it so many fucking times. But I'm hoping to get Chris on soon because I feel like he's the only guy crackers enough that I can talk to and be crackers enough with him without really holding back. So if you're listening, Chris, hurry up. It's our birthdays on Wednesday. He's got the same birthday as me as well, so... But yeah, it's hard to find people that fully speak their mind online, you know. I mean, look at Joe Rogan at the minute. It's just gone. He's a guy that's trying to get, you know, people at the height of their profession that are starting to speak out about Big Pharma and certain things like that. And started off with misinformation, now it's racism, you know, and you've got people like Dave Chappelle, David Goggins backing him up. So it's just like whatever the media wants to throw at people just because they're speaking truth, and it's not along with the narrative that, you know, that fits in with the Matrix. And all these things are trigger words, so be careful. But, you know, I think it's clear to see, and if you can't see it, then you'll probably tune out from now. But let's get into the Matrix anyway, because all that's going on all the time, and the solo pod's about escaping it a little bit. Where me and you can just have a chat about absolute bollocks. But it's pretty interesting bollocks, this one, because if you have been listening, you know, for a while, you know that I love the Matrix, and this has been quite a, you know, a sound pad moment.
The Matrix is everywhere.
But Morpheus not being in the full film, like, what the fuck? You can't really get cheesy and cliche and then leave him out, you know? It just turns into, like, bad lines. Because he had the timing, he had everything. You know, the gap in the teeth. I think he was the right dude. But anyway, the Matrix. What does the Matrix as a concept mean to us? Whether that be control of a higher power or a manipulation of the mind, where you're trapped in the way that you think reality is because of what your diet is. And I mean diet as in what you are looking at, what you're absorbing, who you're hanging around with, what your beliefs are. That could be a matrix. That could be a web in a way that you're thinking and not really understanding what reality really is. But apparently we only see 4% of reality. Or is it, you know, a simulation that hides the true reality that we're actually in? You know, what our perspective is. And if you haven't seen Matrix 4, by the way, there will be some spoilers, but I'm not really going to be doing a movie review. You know, that's not really what I do. It's more about talking about the crazier side of things. But, oh yeah, so plus I'll be talking about Sophia Stuart, which is an interesting story around a book or a film that she sent the script off to Warner Brothers and Fox, different production companies back in sort of the 80s. And her story is that they stole the idea, and the Terminator and the Matrix is two parts. The Terminator being the first part of the book, where mankind develops AI and the machines go against them and they get trapped in a world which leads into the Matrix. So they're two parts. But there's a lot of evidence. There's the book I actually thought would be a lot more in depth about what the actual story was, and it's actually just about how the theft occurred. But in my essence, I'm not sure either way whether it's a hoax. We'll get to that at the end, or whether it's actually, you know, her story that was manipulated. But I would say, reading it now, the difference for me is that I think if I was in the mindset of the 80s and George Lucas sprung out Star Wars, there wouldn't be a lot to sort of relate to this, or it would be a bit of a like, wow, that's pretty interesting and pretty out there. Whereas now, I think there's been millions of, well, not millions, but there's been lots of sci-fi films which kind of, you know, desensitize the special effects and the wow factor because you've seen so many. I mean, Marvel, every film is 2.5 hours and it's just spectacular in the CGI motion and how everything is going on in there you nearly think is real. So yeah, if you've been paying half attention to the last year, The Matrix is something that I'm highly interested in. I think the film, I mean, the idea of it, I mean, I was so fucking stoned when I watched it once, and it's just like, it's freakish that you don't really know what's outside of the planet and the universe. Maybe we are a tiny little atom. So to wake up in a pod and realise you're actually just, you know, a battery is pretty fucking terrifying. But now we've got the metaverse and we've got, you know, people spending on YouTube how long they can, 50 hours, or I think I saw one the other day of Mr. Beast and it was like 50 hours in VR. I mean, that can't be good to just stay in there. And then I saw a woman had been sexually assaulted in the metaverse and gang raped, which I'm not sure how that can really physically happen, but obviously they're going to have to set up some guidelines where people can't be abusive to other people and stuff like that. But I mean, what? Already it's not even been open that long, but anything that's bred by Mark Zuckerberg is probably going to turn into a shit show. So yeah, but let's get into more of the Matrix itself. I mean, if you haven't seen the first one, I don't know what you've been doing with your Monday nights. When it came out, I think it blew the fucking socks off people with the insane effects of the time, really, which were very different. I mean, there was Starship Troopers, there was, Star Wars, there was a lot of things back then that were like that, but I don't think there was something with such a crazy story like that space and all these other kind of stories with, like, Vault of all Wizards or Lord of the Rings, or that kind of fairy tale land was more around it. And I think this one was more like video game based and simulation theory. It was just a leap in the way that we thought about things. And even now, when I watch the first one and that, there's little moments that I think, yeah, actually that's a similarity to this in our reality. And I'm just a mad fan, You're gonna get, like, just for the next 20 minutes, just mad fanness. And I haven't really written any notes on this one. I'm just kind of spitballing. But yeah, with many cliches and crazy moments, the first one was pretty good. I mean, it was pretty cheesy. I mean, a lot of the lines are, I think, they definitely needed maybe a better person to write a lot of the lines. But then I think it wouldn't have been what it is, And yeah, I mean, some of the fashion as well. The fashion was just like, what? It's a very gimp suit, kind of like, yo, would you, like, you gonna go out in that? Or like, when you're wearing stuff like that, you're going to, like, parties that no one really knows about. Dodgy parties, maybe. Killing kittens or some shit, just weird shit. But yeah, I mean, really, they were just jumping into a simulated world. And for me, it's like, is there, there is a possibility. There is a possibility that our timeline is not what it is, and that we're just trapped in it. How are we going to know? Elon Musk said, you're not going to know that. The only way to understand simulation theory, or to prove it, is to be outside of the simulation. I mean, does Frank or Trevor or Michael know they're in GTA, or do they just get turned on and they're like, okay, the higher mind is controlling that, and that's your controller. So maybe you're just, Trevor, getting angry, and someone else is pushing your buttons. Who fucking knows? But I think with the new film, I don't know, there was a few things, it just didn't really grasp the panache. It wasn't like, oh, that was fucking crazy. It was more like, yeah, that was good. Yeah, I mean, it's like a bad night out, but you had to go. That's how I felt about it a little bit. But there was moments, there was a lot of things said, like the sheeple, at the minute they're happy with the system they're in. They don't want it to change. And I think there's a lot of relatability with that at the minute. There's a lot of people that want change, but there's also a lot of things that people are just happy to just coast just go along with it, just, you know, hope that someone else will sort it out for them. And I don't think that's how we're going to get any further. I think that's how we're going to keep getting trampled on and told what to fucking do. But that's another pod. But yeah, what is the Matrix? I looked up the term, or the 3 different meanings of it, and one is the womb, and the other is the formative cells or tissues of a specialized structure such as hair, nail, claw, or tooth. So yeah, I mean, a womb makes kind of sense. It's something that is a structure that is growing something within it, and it needs to work in a certain way for that life form to exist inside of it. I think it changes. You know, it grows, it changes. Because I think when people now just think of the Matrix, they just think of the film, or they think, you know, what London, or I think it came around again a bit with lockdown. Once lockdown finished, people were like, back in the Matrix, you know, because we all had that time to think and get out of the rat race and chill. Basically live rich, but with no freedom. You know, just chill out. Just don't worry so much. It seems, you know, it's slowly unveiling. There's more coming around. I think I suppose if I was chatting to someone in their 50s, what I'd be saying is nothing new. You know, it unravels as your perception unravels as you get older. More and more you can understand. The hangovers get worse because your cells stop replenishing so quickly, or you can't get that alcohol out of your body so quickly, or you're just more aware of how shit you feel, because when you're younger you're a bit more like a fly just buzzing around, not really realising how you feel sometimes, how that connectivity is with yourself. But yeah, for me, I think, you know, I feel the shed is like the shitty flat that Neo was in, trying to find some answers, you know, to all these things that just don't fucking make sense. Or they make sense, but they don't make sense. Do you know what I mean? Like the fucking moon. You know, some people think it plays with their emotions. Other people think it's just a rock. You know, some people think it traps souls. Other people think the Chinese are on the other side. All these things could be true. All these things could be false. But for me, like, I mean, apparently it's a rock that hit off the Earth, and then it's, you know, rounded and magically just sitting where it needs to sit. I mean, when you look at the whole solar system and everything, it's all perfectly aligned exactly where it needs to be. You know, did that just happen by chance? You know, just one big bang, and then everything, you know, you smash a glass and it makes an eyeball. So yeah, all of that's a bit mad, isn't it? As I said, this is a bit of a chatting shit podcast. So, back to the film though. The film I deeply love, anyway, which even to this day I find new meanings in it, as I said. And usually it's like, fucking hell, that's deep, bro. But it's, how can I put it? It's extremely smart for its time, and it did show me, you know, open up new perceptions and working through stuff. And, you know, the Smiths are like these, whenever you start talking about conspiracies, or, you know, you don't really want to talk about flat earth in a pub, or people start looking at you. You don't want to talk about, you know, Barack Obama is Hitler's grandson. All these things are not really the common conversations. Don't worry, I'm completely aware of that. That's why I have a shed and a mic, just so I'm not kicked out of the pub too early. But for me, the metaphor of Smith is that when people start questioning or just having a laugh about maybe different realities or different perspectives, which shouldn't be that crazy to people to talk about, but you know, it's too much of a mindfuck sometimes, maybe. But the Smiths are these guys that just, you know, can be anyone. And if you're a person that antagonizes the system, there he fucking is, right at ya. You know, 1 minute you're carrying a shopping, next minute you're in a suit, and you're the guy from Lord of the Rings, but you're no longer an elf, you're a Smith. And then he's just this dude that, like, even though he knows what the fucking system is, he still has to have more greed and more control and try and escape it and develop into loads of different ones. And, you know, he's just a bit of a prick. But I like the metaphor around it, you know. If you start talking too much about other stuff, you're an idiot, or you're not, you know, that's just dumb. Why do you think that? Let other people think about that. Let the scientists think about that. Let everyone else but you do research. And I'm not talking about me, really. I'll do what I like, but I think you do all your research and everything else at school, and then that's it. And I'm not going to stop. I like delving into these things, looking at these things, and that's interesting. I just don't have the PhD or the master's degree to do it. But, you know, and I'm dyslexic as fuck, so who knows what I'm reading, really. Oh, wait. My phone keeps ringing. I'm gonna get it, and I'll be back in 1 second. Oh. Well, I'm back anyway. Short call. Where was I? I mean, talking about Smith and Morpheus. Morpheus is the god of sleep, apparently, as well. Trinity is like the Trinity that holds the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And then Neo is just an anagram for one. Whereas I thought it was neocortex, but you know, everyone's got an opinion on the internet about what something is. But yeah, I mean, I would be a bit pissed at Morpheus, really, because it was like a bit of a trick, wasn't it? He didn't really say, you know. I think if he said to me, yeah, you take this pill, you're gonna feel like shit. You're gonna realise everything you know isn't what you know, and you're gonna wake up in a pod. All these wires are gonna come out your body. You're gonna slide down. Well, then you're gonna get strangled by a robot. Then you're gonna slide down some shitty slide into a sewage, and then picked up. And oh yeah, the sun's gone. You'll never see the sun again. You might see it once in the third film, but you know, other than that, life's going to be pretty rough. But you know, you'll be living in the real reality, and it's like, well, who's the other guy? Like K-Pac. He was the one that tricked them. You know, he was backstabbing all of them. Done a deal with the devil, Smith. And basically wanted to eat steak and be re-implanted into the Matrix, but it didn't quite happen like that for him. But yeah, he said, "Oh, I bet you wish, or I bet you're thinking the same thing that we're all thinking, and that's if I only took the blue pill." And that's how it is really in life, isn't it? Some people don't really want to wake up to the true reality. They don't really want to know everything what this is all about. And I don't think you ever will. And I'm not saying you should. I'm not saying that's how you should live your life. I'm just saying sometimes I think there is a bit more than what we know. And for me, the more I know, the more I feel I can benefit my health and my way of living and my way of understanding, and relieve myself for the Matrix. But yeah, other than that, I think Morpheus was pretty sick. A lot of his lines were pretty sick. It's insane to me though, not only do you grow with like relationships and the environment you're in, you also mould whatever way you look at it, you do mould to films. I mean, how many films do you think you've seen? It's got to be in the thousands. And how many times do they have subliminal messages? How many times do you relate to them? How many times do you share emotion with them? You cry or you laugh. You know, and for that 2 hours, if you haven't got loads of stresses, or if you can really, you know, completely relax, you're in that film. You are part of that film. You are enjoying that film to the point where if someone calls your name 5 times and you're watching the telly, you don't even fucking realise. And I think for me, that was more of what seeing The Matrix 4 was about. It was this emotional, oh, this film changed so much of what I thought about the world. And then I went and saw it. And yeah, I mean, it was good. It was good, but I think it's been rated right on Rotten Tomatoes. But I did see Spider-Man as well. And Spider-Man it was good, but it was like, we've made all the fucking Spider-Man movies now. So now we're just going to bring all the Spider-Man back into a multiverse, and, you know, we'll get all the kids introduced to that, so then they'll go and rewatch those films. And that's not fact, that's just my opinion. But then it was good to see, like, Tobey Maguire back, and I didn't really like the other dude. I think he was more the Facebook guy, to be honest, but he's done a lot of movies as well. But yeah, I did look at it like, you know, we was exposed to, or my age group, whatever age you are, but if you are 31, Tobey Maguire, it was just, you know, the guy, you had the villain versus, you know, hero story and a bit of future technology. Now it's like hologram invasions, multiverse, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, time travel, telepathy, population control with, you know, Thanos clicking his finger and 500,000, that's how many it's going to go to or be left with, which is what is on the Georgia Stones, which is a bit strange if you ever watch the Flat Earth podcast I did about the Georgia Stones as well. They came into it, but anyway, we won't go into that one. It's another rabbit hole. But yeah, I mean, when you look at what movies are about now, and the next Doctor Strange is the multiverse, and he's got a different, you know, a split reality and a different him, and, you know, it's all a bit crazy, but interesting. Maybe it's, you know, that information's always been there. There is a lot of old information also about multiverse and, you know, parallel universes, and whether it's true or not, who knows. But either the directors or, you know, we're able to actually bring that to life through films now, through CGI and through different ways of, you know, technology and special effects teams, and bring these actual ideas to visual life. And that's what I think a lot of it's to do with, you know, back in the day, they just didn't have the technology to make these kind of films and bring these ideas to life. And would people understand them then either? It's like the technology has kind of gone in the same way. But that's where I think The Matrix was a bit of a leap, you know, with the bullet dodging. And even now when you look at it, it's a film that's 20 years old, and you look at it now and it's still, you know, you can tell some of the CGI. I mean, when he's fighting loads of Smiths, and Neo's got like a well, it's after he sees the Oracle and he's in the car park and he's got like this pole, and then you can tell when it changes from him to like PS3 body form, you know, the colour's just not quite right, whereas CGI now you can't really tell the difference. But I like the fighting in it. The fighting's always good. But yeah, I told you, this is just a massive... I need to let out how much of a fan of The Matrix I am. But yeah, let's talk about the new one anyway. If you've seen it, you can relate. If you haven't, go and see it. It is good enough to see anyway. And it's not long enough to, for your bum to hurt. I hate when that happens. You're sitting there for fucking ages. And that's usually when the film's not good enough, because you're sitting there for fucking ages and you're like, God, is it nearly finished? I don't know if I can even fucking stand up. And then you're just disorientated because you've been in the dark and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But yeah, maybe for this one though, I've just, I've been overloaded with special effects. And all these superhero, immersive, crazy films that are out have just sort of desensitized us to something that might have been or should have been released maybe like 10 years ago. A bit closer to when it was out. They did take their time. And apparently it lost 160 million. So whether they can scrape together to do another one is another, through the investors and everything else. That's another problem. So it might have been the last one. And they do say you're only good as your last. And if that was the last, then it's a bit of a shame. But it did have enough for me to think, yeah, that's fucking cool, or kind of like that. But I think I understood the narrative. We know he's in the simulation. Neo's a guy who's working in a game company, and he doesn't see himself as himself. He sees himself in the mirror as himself, but everyone else doesn't see him as that. They kind of trapped him in his own mind, and he's developed a game which is called The Matrix, and it's the whole entire same story of his whole life. So it's like hidden in plain sight. It's like how all these movies and everything we have, war films, and in a certain way they desensitize you to these things are really happening. They're happening now. People are at war now, and in the Western world you can live in quite a bubble of like horror films and serial killer documentaries, and you certainly feel, even though you're in your living room, you're so sort of enwrapped by the story of like making a murder, or these serial killer documentaries, that you don't really think it's real or that it's ever going to happen to you. And then when it does, it would be such a shock, and you'd be like, is this just a documentary, or is it going to be? I definitely think there's a problem with how much we watch that actually blinds you from what's really going on. And it is what's really going on in a lot of places, and a lot of these are documentaries telling you that they've happened. I mean, there was a one where it was about, I think it was Don't Kill Cats, something like that, and it was a guy that just reenacted the film Basic Instinct, I think, and it started off because he was putting cats in a bag and taking the air out of it, and then a group of people on the internet just hunted him down for ages, and eventually they caught him the FBI did as well, in a internet cafe. I think it can go either way, can't it? You can either look at all these things and think the world's terrible outside, or you can look at them and think they're not really real, or they're never going to happen to you. I like to look at all of it and think, well, that's fucking nuts, but then go for a walk in the park and be like, well, this is pretty nice, isn't it? Don't worry about it too much. Those things go on. It's good to be aware of them, but at the same time, don't let it ruin your day. But yeah, I've completely gone off fucking course there. But anyway, I did enjoy it. It was fascinating. There were some pretty crazy new developments as well, where like Neo couldn't fly, and they made him a bit of a weak man, which I think's a lot of the narrative at the minute. And then Trinity is the strong woman which I think the two directors, you know, both being male and then now being transgender, maybe that was a lot of to do with that in the way, the course that they changed the sort of way that the film was approached or being put out. But I didn't really mind it. They both flew off at the end. I thought it was still a pretty good story to it. I just don't know if that was the original plan of it. And it's just funny how it's come out now, like with everything bubbling around that's how it was framed. But who fucking knows? It's all a fucking Matrix. I mean, the direction of the film did highlight maybe some conspiracies and hiding in plain sight and characters getting a makeover, like Smith. He was now Neo's boss or business partner, I think it was, and about 20 years younger. And as I said, Neo was this kind of lost soul creating his own game on real truth in the Matrix, or what he thought it was, or, you know, which would be pretty confusing, you know, because you'd always, are these memories or are these ideas, or did I create this? You know, it's a good trick. But yeah, and there was upgrades, you know. It's like a hive mentality that rather than it being Smiths, just anyone could turn into like these, I don't know, crazy people that would attack anyone that's, you know, going against the system again. I don't know. Maybe I'm just losing it and looking into the similarities of the world a bit too much, and maybe not experiencing the world as much as I should. Maybe in the shed a little bit too long, but I can't wait for summer though. I just can't wait. Even being in the garden, getting Alan out, you know, roaming around. I might even put a balloon on his back so I can see him and let him wander off a bit. But there's a lot of seagulls, and I don't know if seagulls, you know, like the taste of little tortoise legs. It's funny, at the minute his back legs they're kind of like, they shred their skin, so his back legs are like really white, and then his feet, like the skin's kind of gone down to there, so it's like he's got little socks on. But yeah, and then yesterday, the little fucker, when I'm watching the telly or I'm chilling out, I put him on my chest, and I see him, he's poked his head in and his arms in, and his back legs are arched out, and he's pooing. I was like, you are not taking a shit on my chest. That's never happening to me. I'm not that way, you know. I think the Germans like that sometimes. But I'm not down for that, especially off a tortoise, mate. It's like a little log that come out as well. So I put him in his little bath, and I was like, all right, scrub time, lad. You know. And he's walking around. We're building a bigger arena for him, and he's walking around, crawling the walls. We did think he was a woman as well, or a female, and he's not. It's really hard to tell because their tails are just different. But yeah, he tried to take a shit on me. I wasn't happy. And he's crawling around the wall, so I pick him up and I let him out, and he walks around the living room. And I put him on my chest, and, you know, he's just loving life a little bit. And then, you know, he does that. But yeah, anyway, I wonder if he knows he's in the Matrix. Like, is that little box the simulation to him, that he looks at me like, I look in there and he looks up like, where am I? Can you let me out? I don't like it. So I let him roam around as much as possible, but he's a quick little fucker, so sometimes you have him out and then all of a sudden you think, hang on, where is he? And then he's there, so have to be careful. But yeah, I won't go on too much about the film. It was good. You should go see it. That's about it, really. And then obviously I was looking into this Sophia Stuart, which I've been emailing and not getting anything back, and she's been on a few talk shows, and to be honest, I'm not really fucking bothered if I get her on or not now, because there's too much on the internet about it being a hoax and it not being true. And then I'm always going to be a person that delves in, does my research, and make my own opinion on it. And I've read the book, and it's just not. I think if I read it in that time, then I'd be like, yeah, this is quite mad. But the directors, there's not any proof that they really saw it. And I'm sure Sophia would have something to say on this, but it's a compelling story. I mean, there's a lot of parts in it that have the kind of evidence around it, and the point is that, you know, maybe Warner Brothers got this script from her, kept it apparently for 5 years, and then developed 2 movies from it, one being The Terminator and one being The Matrix. And the basic thought of that is, you know, that John Connor, JC, Jesus Christ, gangster, as she says, not gangster, but Jesus Christ, basically is, you know, the source code, the one, and it's the beginning, you know, artificial intelligence is Skynet, that creates, you know, an artificial world, a simulation that everyone goes into, like the metaverse maybe, who knows. And then people are in there, they're trapped, and, you know, I think the way the Terminator and that has gone, it doesn't correlate with the Matrix, but it does have some similarities. But, you know, I look at, like, did Star Trek copy Star Wars because it was in space? You know, and there's a lot of similarities with that, but no, not really. But what George Lucas did do is, you know, the dark side, the good, the evil, the Father, the Son, you know, it's very godlike, it's very Book of Revelations, it's very based around a hero story. So I think, as she said, she's I quote, she said that she took a lot of what George Lucas did, or she understood what he did and developed. And reading these 9 little chapters of the book, which is called The Third Eye, there is a kind of, you know, there's no names that are the same, there's not really any parts of it, it's about different planets and different civilizations, and there is a dome where, you know, there's no money to be made anywhere else apart from this dome, which is like a simulated world, and people go in there and exchange money, like, you know, Bitcoin. And, you know, I think it's very, very out there for its time, maybe 20, 30, 40 years ago. But whether it's something that developed the Matrix, who knows? But then if you're a person that's written a book that because you understood what George Lucas did from the Book of Revelations and the godlike story, then, you know, one idea springs to another, springs to another, springs to another. And is that idea really yours in the beginning, or is it really someone else's? Or, you know, a lot of my stuff that I did with Dirty Rich and a lot of things I'm talking about is all off other stuff. It's just my take on it. So yeah, I'm a bit disappointed with how the story went, and I don't feel that with this solo pod I can give it its full story, because what it is I'm building again on a lie that someone's produced in order to sell books, I think. And I might be wrong, but I haven't been able to get through to Sophia Stuart to understand otherwise. So if she does hear this, then it would be cool to have her on, because I still think she's a highly intelligent woman, and it's always good to hear it from the person that, you know, is talking about it. But yeah, The Matrix will always be a place for me which I can escape to, though. You know, it's that film that I just put on as, I mean, some people just watch shit films or, you know, a comedy, but like sometimes I like to, you know, if I'm hungover, which is very rare, or just maybe getting a bit stoned, just slap on The Matrix and think, fuck, man. But yeah, it did change the way I saw the world a little bit. Still does now, because who really knows what all this is. But, and if you think you understand it all, great, well done. I'm not there yet. I'm on the fence, and it's a very high one. I don't know which way I'm going to jump, but if the world is a simulation that changes over time, you know, will I be able to dodge the comments that are coming my way? Or when I'm ready, will I not have to? Who knows? Well, till next time, anyway. This was just, you know, I'm going to come back with a banger because I feel like I've let you down a little bit and I just didn't want to not put anything out. But I've got some good diving deep podcasts, and I've got the lads coming around on Saturday for the next, that'll be number 12 episode coming on. I'm fucking tired today as well. I feel like I'm just like, whoa, not giving me energy for you. But this is a growing thing and something I'm trying to mould with and learn, and we are setting up a new website at the minute. And also, you know, just to keep it going, please. The listeners are going up, but YouTube is going up more. So if you are listening, I'm not in the advertisement sector yet. There's no ads. So that means there's no money. So I'm doing this from pure passion and pure love. So if you could just sign up to that Patreon for $1.99. It's only 25 places left, and it's $1.99. So, you know, you can spare that. Just give up one coffee. Just one coffee a month. That's all I'm asking for. If you listen to me 4 times a month, and after that it's going to be $4.99. But you'll get everything because you were one of the first lot to help me out. You'll get everything that the $4.99 get. You know, it's a fucking bargain, and you get a mug. So, you know, help a brother out. Help a shed friend out. You know, I don't want to be in the shed forever. The more money I make, the more fun things I'll be able to do. You know, looking to do in the festivals with Ryan. So we're going to be doing an open air table podcast. Got some crazy things coming this summer, you know. Got some characters coming as well, a bit like the Grinch. So let me know if you think of anything else as well. But yeah, I'm going to shoot off now and put this out pretty quickly. I haven't got my cameras either. I rented my cameras out today, so you're not even going to see my face on this one. But yeah, if you are listening, if you could just, you know, jump on the old Patreon, sign up. That's it. Done. Easy as that. And I'll be like, thanks, mate. That's fucking good, that is. It's helped me out. But enjoy your week. It's only Monday. We've got the whole week to sort this out. Sort everything out. And yeah, cheers for listening. I'll be back next week. Hopefully with some more energy. Don't know what it is. Maybe it's February. Maybe it's my birthday on Wednesday. Maybe I'm feeling old. And I forgot how old I was as well. I couldn't work out whether I was 31 or 32. But yeah. Peace. Thank you very much.